Welcome to the Canoga Park Youth Arts Center's new series, Art Explorer, where each class we go to a different world location and learn how to draw the animals that live there. Today we're going to the jungle. Ta-da! I'm going to show you how to draw 3 different animals today: a monkey, an alligator, and a tropical bird, like a macaw. Now, if you remember, when we went to Africa, I showed you how to draw a zebra, an elephant, and a giraffe. And you could put those in your picture as well. So I have some pictures to show you of jungles and jungle animals. Let's take a look. Here we go. Now, take a look at our alligator. We're going to be breaking these up into basic shapes so that they're going to be easier for you to draw. So our alligator, you can kind of see, he's got this rectangle head, the body that tapers off, and I have step by step to show you how to do this. The next is our monkey. And the main thing with the monkey is that right there and this. About the big ears, but those are the main things of how you can draw a monkey. Now on our bird, remember we've talked about birds before. We have an oval body with a round head, and then if you want, these just come off. If you want them flying, the one I did was sitting down, and you see how long those tail feathers are. You can make those crazy long. And they also have a hooked beak. Now, where our animals are going to be, look, here's the thing with the jungle. It can be really overwhelming. All of those plants, all of those leaves, all of that stuff. But I'm hoping to show you simpler ways. Look, we have all these leaves, all this background, all these plants. I'm sure you're looking at it thinking, oh, that's just overwhelming. But when we go down to this one, you can see how our shapes are starting to become simplified. Look at how simple those plants are. And we got the grass coming up from the bottom. And as we go down to this one, you can see how they've taken plant shapes and really, really simplified them. It also helps that both of these illustrations have green in the background. So you can tell the jungle is really dense because you can't even see any light coming out from it. Let's start with our step-by-steps of how to draw the animals. All right. Our monkey. Now I want you to notice that I'm just using basic shapes on all of these. Green all over me. Here's 2 circles for our monkey's head. Do you see how the first circle, and then I have that other circle that's slightly below it. Now I'm going to add the monkey's bottom. Notice how the top of this circle and the top of this circle are the same. Can you see that? Now as we move over to this one, you can tell I've added ears. I put his nose in, gave him a smile, gave him his eyes. So the top part's starting to look like a monkey. But we have our legs. So I made these 2 ziggy-zag lines. They go out. This is his knee, comes back in, and then there's the foot. So once you get that in, it's time to make them actual legs. So we're just going to make them thick. Remember, they get skinnier as they get closer to the foot. And monkeys have a divergent toe, so their toe kind of goes off to the side. And they're thicker where it hooks onto our monkey's body. And I just put the first 2 lines up for the arms. And then on my last drawing, I'm going to add a tail. I'm going to give him a little belly. And then I add the rest of my arms. And all I did to show him hanging from the vine was to draw these little lines like that. And it looks like his hands like going over like that. So that's one way of showing that a monkey is holding on. Now here's our alligator. Oval. Easy. We all know how to do an oval. Oval with a tail stuck on. This is basically a triangle that's really tapered as it goes off to the end. It gets smaller and smaller. So now we have the body and the tail. Our next part, we have our body and our tail. We're going to add this kind of triangle, rectangle, because it's kind of chopped off there. So it's kind of like a rectangle, but it gets wider there. So we're going to call it a chopped off triangle. That's our alligator's head. And look at these 2 legs. Bink, bink, bink. Bink, bink, bink. Alligator's knee, alligator foot. Alligator knee, alligator foot. So now we put all the parts together. I finish drawing my legs. They're very short, and alligators have claws that come out. I put a bump for his head. I put a bump for his nose. And then I just gave him a little smile. And then alligators have 2 ridges, but we're only going to show 1. A little ridge that goes all the way down his back. So just by following these simple steps, you can make an alligator. And our last animal I'm going to show you today is our tropical bird. And you may recognize some of these steps. oval for the body, but it needs to be tilted a little to the side. You see how it looks like it's falling over? I add my head at the top. Now I'm going to put in my beak, my eye, and maybe some fancy feathers on the top there. So far it's starting to look a little bird-like. I'm going to add my tail feathers. I kind of ran out of paper, but these tail feathers can go all the way down here if you have enough room. And then we move to another step, and here's our wing. Now, our wing has an elbow in it, which is right around there. But if you just do this kind of hook, and then make your feathers coming up like that, that indicates that your wing is up against your bird's body. And then on the last step, I just kind of smooth all the lines out. See how I kind of gave him so his head didn't look like it was just attached there? Smoothed it out, and just gave him a couple of claws to be hanging onto the branch with. So you can tell, they're easy. All three of these guys are easy. All right, let's just take one quick look at my drawing again. Now, the jungle part. Part of the way that I solved this is by making really large leaves. The larger the leaf, right, it covers more space. So if you have really big leaves, it's doing two things. It's telling the viewer that they are very close to that leaf because it's that big. So it makes them feel like they're right in the middle of the jungle with you. And it also covers a lot of room. Look how big these leaves are. So you can see that when you put in, the more big stuff you put in, the less little stuff you have to draw. I got my trees coming through here. I got a row of grass along the bottom. So I'm not sitting there drawing leaf after leaf after leaf, getting tired and uninspired. And remember, you can draw these things any way you want. All right, my friends, we're going to start by drawing our jungle. Now, I'm going to draw a very light horizon line because there's so much stuff that is on top of it. So I'm just going to draw lightly. Remember, it's where the sky meets the land. No two mountains are the same. Now I'm going to draw another light line. This shows me that this area is flat, and this area I have to start climbing uphill. So now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my animals first, and then I'm going to put in my my greenery after that. So let's start with my bird. Remember what I said? Oval with a little round head, a beak that's like hooked like that, some fancy feathers on the top. There's his head, wing, a little hook, upside down hook, and then here's your feathers right there. And I'm going to give him his tail feathers, and they can come down low here because I've given myself enough room. So I can give him really long tail feathers if I want to. I'm going to just give him a couple of legs, and we will add the branch to that later. All right, now my alligator. Remember what I said about my alligator? Starts off as an oval. We put a pointed tail. I'm going to make his tail curl so we have room for it. But notice how it gets smaller as it travels away from his body, just like your arms and your legs do. For his head, it was that strange kind of not quite a triangle, not quite a rectangle. So there we go. And we have one leg going this way and out, one leg coming this way and out. There's their knee. So now all I have to do is connect the pieces. So I connect my head to my alligator. I'm going to give him his legs, and his little claws come out like that. I'm going to give him his other leg. I kind of follow the line of that first one. So there's his legs. Here's his belly. We're going to give him a little bump. That's the bump where his little eyeball is. And as it comes down the nose, there's another little bump here, and that's where his nose is. And they even have a little bump on the chin, just a little bit. And now we're going to give him his teeth. Alrighty. Now on an alligator or a crocodile, their belly has a slightly different texture than the top of their body. Maybe if you've seen dragons, you've seen what I mean by that. You see they got like this soft underbelly. And put that in there, and the last step is these ridges that they have. So I'm going to do a ridge around here. All right, our last animal is the monkey. Now, we're going to leave room for his arms, right? I have to make sure I leave room for his arms. So I'm going to put his head here, and there's that other intersecting. You're starting to see it looks like a monkey already, doesn't it? Now I'm going to put in his body. Another oval. Remember how we share this line with our oval? We're going to put in one leg here, And now I'm going to make those legs thicker. Give him his little toes. There we go. Give him his little toes. Remember, your legs get thicker or thinner as they come down to your feet. 2 arms going up. We also need our ears on our guy. Our arms are going up. Again, skinnier as they go up. Fat at the body, skinny as they come up. And then all I got to do is go bink, bink, bink. And that looks like he's holding on to something. Bink, 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 bink. He's holding on to something. Give him his little nostrils, his smile, his little eyes. All right, now we have our 3 animals. We have to build our jungle around it. First thing I have to do is give this poor bird something to sit on. So let's make a branch coming up here. So this poor birdie's got something to sit on and have it go off there. Second thing I need is for him to be swinging because he's just not flying through the air. So we're going to put one of those Tarzan vines going through his hands and coming up. Now the rest of all of this is just leaves. And we're going to draw over a lot of my drawings. So I'm going to come in with 2 big leaves. Look how big they are. Bump, 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 bump. And you can put a line down the middle because a lot of times that's what leaves have. They have like a little seam down the middle. We're going to put another one in here. And a little line down the middle. And all around here, we're just going to start doing really simple leaves. And remember, I'm going to have to erase a lot of these lines at one point because they're overlapping each other. Some of them I do want to overlap, some of them I don't want to overlap. There we go. All right. Now I'm just going to add some grass to the bottom. And just like the mountains, you know, you can't just go up, down, up, down. That's not what grass is. Grass has some that go this way. Then they've got little short ones. Then maybe some that go that way. So make sure that your grass looks as random as grass looks. See how I'm just kind of doing a zigzaggy line? All right. Let's see. If I wanted to, I could have another leaf coming in over here. Bum, 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 bum. And you can just fill up the rest of this with leaves. You have some, anywhere you have extra room, you can throw, oh, we have some trees we're going to put in, and we don't need to show the tops. The tops can come right off the bottom of the page, and it comes down here like that. Have another tree over here maybe, and then we see the bottom of it over here, and we'll put some grass at the bottom. There we go. So here we have our jungle. Now, I'm going to show you what else we can do with our jungle. Jungles are very colorful places. Now, I did a little something different this time. I'm going to show you a trick you may not know. I used chalk pastels. Yes, kind of like sidewalk chalk. If you get other types of chalk that are more for art, you get more colors to choose from. But sidewalk chalks works as well. Now, you know how when you work with chalk and you rub your finger on it, you get chalk all over you? Well, here's a way of avoiding that. I'll show you how. You need a little bit of water. I'm going to come back over to where I was. Now, I left some of my drawing unwaterized so I could demonstrate this. I used chalk, and then all I did was take water and on my brush, and look what happens. My chalk is dissolving, and all the color is mixing together. Do you see how that's happening? It also gets a little bit more bright when you add water to chalk. So everywhere that I put chalk, all I'm doing is adding the water. And here's some of my green leaf. Do you see how that made it just a little bit greener when I added the water on? And it's only water. And then this can also be blended in. Do you see how that green is blending a little bit? So always remember to try to use more than one color when you're coloring something. And this is a great reason why, because if you use chalk, you can blend them. And that way your leaf looks a little bit more three-dimensional. Let's take a look at this one more time. It's so colorful and nice to look at. So I hope I taught you something not only about how to draw animals today, but easy shortcuts as to how to draw a jungle. I think sometimes people don't draw jungles because it seems so overwhelming, but there are ways to get around that. And you can use your sidewalk chalk. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Art Explorer. If you do the project and you like how it came out, we would love to see it. We're considering having a student gallery, and it would be great to show everyone's work in it. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again for another episode of Art Explorer.